your dog back?
Yeah. Uh, you know what's what's tied to that? You know what I haven't gotten back? A
No.
deck. And it's been over a year. You know what? I'll
I don't
open.
think you're getting that deck ever
Well,
done.
this is gonna turn into a legal
Yeah,
problem, like
that sucks.
better business period.
Yeah.
On the one hand, he is still responding to messages that
Mm.
Brian sends.
But he's just
Um,
not.
However, I mean, he's already, and I care, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I don't care. He's already lost money on our project. Okay. But you hired people that I think, took advantage of you and
Yeah.
said they could do a job that they
Yeah.
couldn't. But then you had multiple rounds of people that weren't
Yeah.
able to do it. And then when you finally did get someone who was capable, seemingly, he has his own business and
Mhm.
can't. Oh my gosh. When this new guy that we liked, that he, brought on to help him out, said, because we asked about some boards, new boards, this was supposed to be an all new, brand new deck. But some of the boards were already like wobbly and should have been very tight and
Yep.
brand new and sturdy. And they were already bowing. And so asked him about like, why are they doing that already? He got underneath and looked. They're not nailed into anything, some of them. Not a single thing. And they replaced none of the under structure that was from like the 70s, so it's
Yeah.
rotted.
Yeah.
He's like, there are several floating boards, or like there's like a single nail is attached to something, but that's why.
Yeah.
So you could just fall through at any point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's gonna it's gonna get nasty. I just
I hate that. I
I
hate that for
know.
you guys.
I
Ugh.
know. It's the
Mm.
worst. So there is sort of a deck, but there's not because it's not structurally sound. And
Mhm.
at this point, like I would rather just get our money back.
Yeah.
And then I
And
already
then deal
know
with
we're gonna
it.
have to pay someone else a lot more,
Hmm.
but so be it.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it was an investment anyways. It's a large sum of money.
Yeah.
I would like to get that back
Yeah.
so that I can have some, like, come take all the wood. You want all
Uh-huh.
you paid, like it's yours. Come take it all. I don't care. I'd rather live with a giant gaping hole in the backyard off of our patio door than this and just be sitting in limbo. So it's been over a year because it started July of
Yeah.
2025.
Yeah, it was going to be done by band camp or something like wasn't that the
Yeah,
ridiculous? It
that's why
was
we left the
yeah.
first time and took our
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah.
And then, nope, continued to just be a dumpster fire.
Ready to set it on fire, it sounds like.
Yeah, at this point, although now I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen. I just want it to be done. I just want a deck. We bought, deck furniture, like, well, you saw it, the bench,
Oh yeah.
the two chairs, and they
Yeah.
had just been sitting unassembled, in the
Hmm.
box because we were gonna use them last fall, and then finally this spring, even with our deck being unfinished, we're like, let's just get them out. Like, we want to be able to use this furniture that we bought.
Uh,
Anyways.
anyway,
So is that our intro? Is
I
my
don't
deck saga?
I
Like,
don't know. You seemed like you wanted to say something real and then I
no, that's
had
fine.
dog questions, deck questions.
That can be our intro. So everyone, welcome to the Home Improvement Project Nightmare Podcast,
Yeah.
also known as Millennial Mom Thoughts, and it's episode 49.
What's up? What's up? What's
49.
up? What's up? What's up?
I am Jordan Spiegelmeyer, and I am never dealing with contractors again. You are.
Ooh, I'm Helen Plevka-Jones and I need to order new contacts.
Oh, okay.
Is what
I
the
hope
word
your process is
contractor.
not an over
No.
year
I
long.
am switching insurances, so we shall see, you know.
It's fun.
But yeah. Oh, good times.
Yeah.
How are you? Hi.
Doing well, considering there are just a very few short days, 2 days left until school starts
Yeah.
on Monday. And I don't know how to feel.
Hmm.
First grade.
A first
Wow.
grader, a
Wow.
soon to be pre-Ker.
I know. I know.
Yeah,
I
it's
think I'm not
exciting.
okay.
Oh.
I mean, I think I'm okay. I'm excited, but
Yeah.
it's also, man, it's so cliche, but good grief, it goes fast.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
just doesn't feel possible. So,
Yeah.
anyways, how
No,
are you doing?
well, my phone, or not my phone, but my laptop background is Violet's first day of daycare picture from a year
Mhm.
ago now. And I look at
Yeah.
that, I'm like, that's still just her. Like, but also it's not. And
No,
what is time? Yeah, she
I
was so
don't
teeny
know.
tiny. Now she's so big, but also so teeny tiny. Tomorrow
Yeah.
will be officially a year and a half, 18 months, which is,
Wild.
can't believe it.
Wild.
Hard to fathom, but good. We've had a nice, calm weekend over here, which is what I needed after a busy, busy week of being a working mom, which
Yeah.
I have been, but also just like
Different kind,
full
different
time,
structure.
fully away
Yeah.
from home, 5 days
Yeah.
a week is like I think I mentioned in our previous episode. It's gonna be a transition,
Yes.
but I'm really loving the work and I love the people I'm working with, and so it's
Wonderful.
all good things, but also hard things, and it'll be challenging and in a rewarding way, I think.
You
So
have a computer now.
as of about 4 o'clock on Friday.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay,
Yes.
good.
So, you
Glad
know,
to
I
hear
didn't
that.
need, I think I opened it to be like, yep, it's a functioning computer, and then just left it sitting
Done.
there because that'll be my treat tomorrow, my big
Wonderful.
Monday morning whoop-de-doo.
Okay.
But yeah, so we still have one more week until classes start the following Monday. Um, so it'll be nice
Hmm.
to still get a little more preliminary kind of admin-y stuff done this next week before the real deal starts
Yes.
once students are in the
Back on
building, and
campus.
yeah,
Yep.
back on campus, and we're in the full swing of things. But I don't know about you. How are you feeling going into like the routine, the rhythm of the school year versus summer?
Yeah, it's obviously more predictable.
Mhm.
I think I like both. I like the flexibility of, hey, we're just gonna go do this.
Hmm.
Like and just leave and go somewhere. But I also like knowing, hey, this is coming up and this is on the calendar and hey, Monday nights it's
Hmm.
soccer. I forgot that I also signed him up for fall tennis. So
Oh,
we have two evening activities
ooh,
during the week, which was
yikes.
maybe a lot to to
Well, in addition
tack
to
on there.
all the band rehearsals too, I'm
Right.
sure that's
Right.
a lot of
So
mom
there's
responsibility.
yes.
Yeah.
And some of his soccer games they start at 7,
Oh my,
which feels very late for
yeah.
little. They're
That's
either a
bedtime over
6:15
here.
or a 7. So,
Yeah,
we'll get
dang.
home at like 8 o'clock, which
Yeah.
is definitely past when I'm getting Lily into bed. But
Mhm. Yeah.
Brian's over at band, so
Hmm.
there we go.
Yeah, no. I think Violet is wanting to be more of a 7:30 bedtime girly these days.
Same.
'Cause she's making this very audibly known.
Yeah.
Which I'll be honest that, I took over bedtime most nights this past week because I was just like, I'm home. I just want to spend as much time with her. And it's like, oh, you want to read one more book? Okay, we'll read one more book. Okay, we'll read seven more. Seven more.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Who
I,
doesn't
I
love
can't
reading
help.
books?
I mean, it's so hard to say no more books because like we love books, but
Yes.
also we love sleep ourselves too, and sometimes getting maybe 30 plus minutes to ourselves before bedtime, before
Yeah.
grown up bedtime. But anyway, yes,
Yeah, lots going on.
lots going on.
Our weekend was not a typical one.
Mm.
And I don't have, or he doesn't have any answers yet, but
Mm.
Brian had an upper endoscopy
Mm.
on Friday. So, which, in case you are unaware, you have to go under anesthesia for
Mhm.
that. So you are knocked out. It went very, very fast, amazingly fast. I think he was waking up and in the recovery,
Mm.
phase post anesthesia for longer than the
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
was, but hopefully he will get
Get
some
some answers.
get some
Oof,
answers.
I hope
So,
so.
yeah.
Ugh.
So here we are,
Here we
just
are,
living our lives at
refreshing the
40.
portal.
Yeah. Yeah. Or I guess he's not 40 yet. He
No.
turns 40 in this
Oh my
fall. So
gosh. Yeah.
his 39-year-old self. I did not
Mhm.
anticipate all this weird medical
Yeah.
stuff, but
Yeah. Well, glad he is able to get the testing and
yes, he's doing well.
good. Good.
Other than that, um,
Well, oh, sorry, what were
no,
you
yeah.
going to say?
I was just gonna tell people in case you didn't remember that you should
Oh yeah.
follow or subscribe. I don't know which one it
Mhm.
is. Follow or subscribe or
Do them
both.
both.
Um on to our podcast on all of the things. You know what? If you want to listen to us on Spotify, you can follow us on Apple Podcasts too.
Mm-hmm.
And then also like it
Mm-hmm.
with 5 stars, all the
Mm-hmm.
stars, whatever the
Mm-hmm.
number of stars is, just use all of them and leave a comment
And I
or a review. Do
am
we have any reviews since our
That's what I'm
last? I didn't even
checking.
look.
Millennial mom. There should be an easier way than having to search my own.
Search your
Why
own
isn't it coming
podcast.
up? Millennial mom thoughts. Here we
Oh
are.
no, have
So
we
this
been
is not a
removed?
good sign if it's not auto-populating, you guys.
Well, you
Um,
just don't listen to it on
how
there.
do I see reviews? We have 8 ratings, but how many
Oh,
reviews?
okay, that's good.
2 reviews.
2
Nope.
reviews. All right, give
The
us more
Millennium
reviews.
Mommers
Come
missing out
on.
on good storytelling over here.
Come on, people. We need other people to listen. So then we
It's
get fed
fine. We
into
like
other people's
listening to
algorithms.
ourselves,
Yes, no,
but
that's good.
also,
What were you going to say?
oh, I was gonna smoothly transition
Oh, jump
into
right in.
talk
Yes.
about busy with you
Oh man.
taking
Yeah.
on a brand new role and responsibility. So really, I'm thrilled that you jumped into the outline before me and got
Oh,
all of
yeah.
this fabulous material here because
Well, it's very brief, but
well, I
I
have
have
so many
several things.
questions. Yeah, yeah, because you are I mean, you've been involved in this work for over a year now, on a
Yeah.
serious advocacy, organizational involvement level. But you recently, I think, as you shared, were invited to join this leadership team and now are like the leader, is how I'm interpreting what you told me. So tell me what your role is and what that is looking like kind of on the day to day, but maybe also more long
Yes.
term, big picture vision.
I should note that like this is not this is not like a paying gig or some, somebody had messaged saying, "Oh, congratulations on going back to work." And I'd be like, "Yes, but it's not like a job that
Yeah.
has anyways, but I would do this regardless." So,
Mhm.
Distraction Free Schools Policy Project. I have been the co-lead for the
Mhm.
Illinois, the state team. So there are teams across all, the country. There's almost not every state has a state lead. So this that folds into what I'm going to be
Mhm.
working on. But Distraction Free Schools Policy Project is the national group, and there are 3 leaders, of this founders, leaders of this group. One of them is Deb Schmill, and she is the Becca Schmill Foundation. Her daughter Becca died due to social media harms, which you can, look up her incredible story, Deb Schmill's story. You have very likely seen her in pictures, whenever there are things like the like COSA that just passed through the Senate committee last week. She was there, and so she's part of the survivor parents that show representation whenever there are, these laws and things that come up. Kim Whitman is another founding, member, and she's also part of Smartphone Free Childhood US. And then at one point was also part of the Screens in Schools. I think she maybe co-led that. I'm blanking now, but the Fair Plays Screen Time Action Network, Screens in Schools. So she was part of that. And then I feel bad. I know she's said it before, but everyone just calls her Laura D because I'm not precise. I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce her last name,
Oh,
and I never want to get it wrong. So it's Laura D. But if you look it up on the website, again, I don't want to.
well,
It's
now
either
I want to know.
Darren Dinger or Darren Diger. I truly
Okay.
don't know because I've only ever heard her called Laura D.
Laura D.
So apologies to Laura D for not knowing how to properly say your last name. I've never asked and I've never heard anybody say it other than Laura D, but we always know who it is. She's in Vermont, if I remember right. Anyways, these three amazing advocacy leaders. The Distraction Free Schools Policy Project is a collaboration between the Becca Schmill Foundation and then Smartphone Free
Mm,
Childhood US.
okay.
And there's other partner organizations like Anxious Generation, Fair Play, Institute for Families and Technologies, a couple for Phone Free Schools Movement. I know I'm forgetting something else, but basically, it's a team of people that work across the country to put legislation in place in states, and there are three model bills, the gold standard, that are for phone-free schools, for safe school technology, so that, that ed tech piece and one-to-one devices, that all fits in there, and then social media free schools. So if you go to their website, distractionfreeschools.com, you can learn all about the different model policies and just tips for advocacy and briefing documents and I mean anything that you could possibly need to know, research. It is there and it's a fantastic resource. They also have a button at the top where you can click join an advocacy team. And so then you just fill out your information and what state you're in, and then you'll be put in contact with your state lead. And if there's not a state lead, you will be put in contact with me. So I'm going to kind of work on the outreach
Mm.
piece. So that's my new role.
I'm literally taking notes as you speak.
Oh,
Because
wow.
well, this, I have known about your work in these spaces, but I also know so few specifics about what that looks like. So I am
Yeah. Yeah.
taking notes.
Well, there's three model bills.
And could you
And
explain so a model bill means this is drafted legislation for
correct.
on each
For
of these three
legislators.
platforms.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so each, things, these are like the top, the gold
Hmm.
standard, the thing that you want to reach for.
Hmm.
But as I'm sure anyone knows, things get watered down, amendments get made, changes, accommodations for certain groups having different feelings about it. It is an interesting process that I had no knowledge of, or very, very little knowledge of prior to becoming involved. The
Hmm.
nice thing is well, now it's every other Wednesday, but every Wednesday at noon Eastern, there is either a Distraction Free Schools national call, community of practice call, and now they rotate with Schools Beyond Screens. So
Mm.
it used to be it just got to be a lot. Every Wednesday was Distraction Free Schools, and then I think it was every Tuesday was Schools Beyond
Mm.
Screens, or they maybe did once a month. But that the Schools Beyond Screens group focuses on like local policy and ed tech and talking through like how to advocate school district level. There's still that discussion happening at the Distraction Free Schools meeting, but it's mostly focused on state policy. So sharing updates and then best practices, sharing resources, bouncing ideas. It's a really amazing, amazing group of people that are doing this voluntarily, giving their time, giving their knowledge and their resources, and then people that come to it like me that had no knowledge of these things and just for a long time just listened. Like there
Hmm.
were very few meetings in the beginning. I mean, I don't know that I ever spoke at a single meeting. And not that I speak at every meeting now. I usually still am just listening because there's so much to learn. But it has helped me understand that it doesn't take, I mean, it helps to have more people. There's strength in numbers for sure, but it doesn't take that many people to help get a bill started. Like it's just talking to people and calling people. And if you can meet in person, certainly that's ideal. But, in my case, I can't drop everything and go, to Springfield or Chicago. But I can submit testimony. I've submitted written testimony now for bills, particularly the cell phone bill here in our state.
Hmm.
And
Which
now,
passed.
yeah, so SB 2427 is the personal device bill. there is a there's a whole lot of exceptions in
Mm-hmm.
that bill. So it is bell to bell in name,
Mm-hmm.
but there's some funky stuff.
Hmm.
So there's a group, a team of people, and part of that is the Phone Free Schools, is it the report card? Gosh, I wish I could remember that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you've
Phone, yeah, I
referenced that
think it's Phone
before.
Free
Yeah.
Schools report card. We can
Mm-hmm.
definitely link this, but they do like a letter grade system.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know what Illinois is going to be. It might not be awesome. So
Mm-hmm.
that the Institute for Families and Technology Distraction Free Schools project, and then some, other people, they look at the bill and all the different pieces to it, and they have a grading system so they can decide where a bill falls on
Mm-hmm.
this report card. So there are some A bills. There's actually, I think is there four now, or is it two? Four. Four states have A bills: Indiana, Kansas, North Dakota, and Rhode Island. Some states have F bills: Connecticut, Mississippi, South Dakota, and Washington. And then right now, Illinois is still in the bill pending, even though it's been signed.
Mm-hmm.
They need to get, the team needs to get some clarification on some of those exceptions before they can provide a grade.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, because when you said that it's, bell to bell in name, I've already heard some confusion around it, just, anecdotally in conversation,
sure.
folks saying that, well, they can still have them during lunch and stuff like that.
No.
That's a
Well,
no? Or is it and when does this go into effect? This will
well, that's
not
the other piece.
necessarily affect
If you
26,
have,
27, right?
it won't.
Yeah.
If you have a policy already, if you have anything, a
Mhm.
policy already in place, it's either 20, I think it's 2030. I need to go back and
Mm.
look. It's either 2030 or 2031. It's super far into the
Mm.
future before you have to adjust.
Mhm.
So that is a heck of a lot of time. I don't know the original spirit of the bill, which the governor, that was like the intent, the bell to bell piece was there, but now all of the exceptions that have
Mhm.
been put in place really don't make it bell to
Mhm.
bell. And so it's almost more instructional time only, which a
Mhm.
lot of districts were already
Mhm.
doing. Not every
But
single
in
one.
name and in
Well, in name.
policy but
Yeah.
in practice, yeah.
And the piece that, I think about for like for teachers, for example, it just feels, gosh, it just feels like one more thing to have to manage, and then feels unfair when some handle it and some choose not to. And
Mhm.
it can definitely cause frustration in relationships. This teacher always takes my phone,
Mhm.
this one doesn't. And so it, to me, there are states that do the inaccessible storage.
Mhm.
And I believe Indiana, that's why they got the A, because it has Indiana and Kansas and North Dakota and Rhode Island. I need to go back. There's so many different pieces to bills. It's just
Mhm.
amazing. But the gold standard is all day, first bell to last bell, not exceptions for lunch or recess or passing periods or, study halls. And then inaccessible storage, meaning that you can, if you bring it into the building,
Mhm.
then it is going to be stored in a secure,
Mhm.
separate location so that you don't have access. A lot of schools will do off and away, but it's like it
Mhm.
could be in your pocket
Mhm.
or in your backpack.
Mhm.
Some might do it has to stay in your locker, but again, I don't blame the kid. Like
Mhm.
it's really tempting to want to use. So,
Mhm.
and it's complicated.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to consider, and it does take into account students that need a
Mhm.
device for things like a glucose
Right.
monitor, for
Right.
example, for a student that's diabetic, or like an English language learner
Mhm.
that might use a translator app. Like this is there are exceptions for a reason, because there are
Mhm.
some cases where a student might require the use of their phone
Mhm.
for, medical, health, whatever reasons. And I think Illinois, that there are more exceptions that are in there. And the some of the pushback that I remember hearing about was like discipline, and
Mhm.
it not becoming, you don't want a kid to now all of a sudden rack up a whole bunch of discipline issues that didn't have it before. just because of a phone violation, which I agree with and understand, that you don't want to unfairly discipline students. But that's why if no kid has it and there aren't these, a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of exceptions, other than the, health and like IEPs and 504s and that kind of thing, then nobody has it. You know, my thought is, what would you do if none of your friends had their phones during the school day? Like you wouldn't want to have your phone because nobody else has it
Mm-hmm.
and everybody's there. I saw an interesting post just a couple, maybe with 2 or 3 days ago from a high school in Indiana, because this is their first year with
Mm-hmm.
their new bill, and like these quotes from students talking about, I talk to people in the hallway I've never talked to before. I played a card game at lunch for the first time in my whole life. Like these other, you know, it was hard to adjust to in the beginning, but now, like, I understand, basically, like, I get why this is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it is, it's an adjustment. It's adjustment for students, it's an adjustment for parents.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just so much evidence of why this is helpful for students' mental health, their
Mm-hmm.
academic health, their social health. And my other thing is like that I think about is nobody asked permission to bring them in, right? Like this has been really difficult to get them out of school,
Mm-hmm.
but they just kind of were there,
Yeah, it is
you
because,
know?
when I think about my high school experience where we were starting, I mean, we had personal cell phones. They were potentially starting to become smartphones at that. It's like so
Yeah.
blurry in my mind of
Around
like,
2012 is when,
yeah, which is when I graduated, I guess. So that would
oh,
have been,
okay.
I guess maybe we're just talking cell phones. So maybe that really is just the turn is when the iPhone and
Yeah.
other smartphones emerged.
When they
That
got internet.
for me, yeah, like we had phones often in the bag, or I left mine in my locker, which I think was the the actual policy. But like
Yeah.
distinctly remember just like the stigma that did come with like getting caught. Like
Mm,
dang, like they well, and I guess I've shared that's when I got my detention was
yeah.
when I checked the phone. So I guess I didn't have it often in my bag. Maybe I was becoming more of a rebel by senior year. But I remember freshman year, one of my good friends, her phone went off in class.
Mm.
Like, got a phone call and oh, what song was it?
Oh, back when there
Uh,
were ringtones? Gosh, I
uh-huh.
miss
It's
that.
a country song, Perfect All American Girl. Do you remember that?
I don't, but now I
She's
want to hear it.
something, something, something. She's a something. Because I can hear it and I
Yeah.
can just see her going beet red.
Oh
And like she got
man.
the even though she was like,
Yeah.
perfect, perfect child, got the detention and just bawled her eyes out the
Oh
rest of the
no.
day. Yeah. Oh,
But you
yeah.
know what? She remembered. She
Uh-huh.
remembered to turn that ringer off.
Well, for sure. I know. But it is, but then it does what you mentioned about the critique as far as discipline goes
Yeah.
as well. Like that has always been an issue surrounding personal devices in schools and how
Yeah.
different students, I mean, it's a larger conversation about disciplinary practices in general, but who and who isn't being punished for the same
Yeah.
behavior. And so that's what does,
Yes. Which is a
when you
valid.
think about the exceptions that exist, and as you mentioned, like who are you going to be, who's going to be using your phone when no one else has their phone? But then with those, except for students with our 504s, IEPs, different needs for having a personal device on him, that still just, I don't know. I think that leaves open many questions that I hope are going to be explored and answered in the time between this bill passing and the implementation date, right? You said either 2030, 2031. It's
Yeah.
like, I understand the logistics, the reality that like, change doesn't just happen overnight, or that passing a
Sure.
bill doesn't just mean something is going to immediately change, even though sometimes it does in different cases. As I'm especially learning in the higher ed space right now, like there are things, so many moving pieces, and then one
Yeah.
change topples an entire whatever. But that aside, I'm thinking about in the time between now and 2030, 2031, that we fill that time with the education and the conversations
There
that it
does need to
takes,
be education. Yeah.
not only for the adults who are responsible for implementing this,
Yes.
the districts being held accountable, the district admin, I mean, and the building level admin, the teachers who are on the ground, doing this, but
Yes.
also the students as well, that we continue having things like, for instance, our book club this summer, but these genuine conversations with
Right.
the youth involved, that this isn't just a top down measure, but that it is a change in culture, a change in, yeah, a,
Yeah,
a shift.
it is.
Yeah.
And I recognize that.
Hmm.
It is a shift and it can take some getting used to, but with the number of states
Hmm.
that have a bill in place, when I'm looking from the A to the D, F is that the bill failed, so I won't include them, but there's 4 states are A, 20 states plus DC are B, 8 states are C, and 9 states are D. So the number, like, this is happening
Hmm.
across the country. There are so few. The only state right now that doesn't have any bill introduced is Montana. So and then there are 4 states that are currently incomplete. Again,
Hmm.
Illinois, it's in there even though the governor signed it, but
Hmm.
it's just incomplete because they haven't assigned a grade yet.
Hmm.
But that will be coming soon.
But when's
Um,
the grade going in, teacher? That felt so real. I'm like,
yeah,
well, I did it, but they haven't graded it yet, so it
yeah,
still
it's
says
not.
incomplete.
It's
But
they
my
are.
mom's going to be emailing you.
It has been the homework assignment was
Uh,
collected. Your name was on the paper. I do have it. I just don't have a grade
Where is
entered in
my
the grade book
A?
yet.
Oh my
That's funny.
gosh, that is
Yeah,
funny.
so that's phone free.
Yeah,
Um,
can I ask one other
yeah,
question back to your DFS work that you mentioned, the three gold standards, the safe school tech, I understand that. Phone-free
yeah,
schools, I'm that's what we were just talking about, right? This as one
yes.
example of a phone-free school policy. What then is social media free schools? Is that an alternative to a phone-free school? Like meaning we have,
No, these
or
are
just like,
3 separate. Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah. So
this
like
is
explain to me the
basically
difference between a phone-free school and a social media free school.
so this is where no child should be put into a position where they have to own a smartphone or a smart device
Hmm.
and or have a social media account to access something for school
Gotcha.
that all students are expected. So
Yeah.
an example of that would be like every student on the basketball team needs to have a Snapchat and we need to be part of like that's how the coach
I was gonna
communicates
say
with all
that, like,
students
okay.
or a club. So anything that is within the school
Hmm.
that the students are not required or only information from student council is posted on Instagram,
Hmm.
that kind of thing, where it's to in order to engage with the school
Hmm.
clubs, activities, school day.
Extracurriculars.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Extracurricular. I was like, what word am I searching for? Extracurriculars, or even things that aren't extracurriculars.
Yeah, sure.
Anything basically that would require a student to have a smartphone. So something else I think about is like a lot of hall passes have gone
Mm,
digital, like QR codes.
interesting.
And I know most, the percentages are pretty high. It's like 90 something percent or maybe 80%, somewhere in there, between 80 and 90 schools have one-to-one devices.
Hmm.
So they might be able to have digital passes that way. But if it's your pass is something you have to scan a QR code or check in,
Hmm.
well, if I'm a kid that doesn't have a smartphone or a device, like I shouldn't be required to participate in the school day or school activities with a smartphone and or
Hmm.
social media account. So it's also just ensuring that during the school day, they are not being encouraged to use social media. So, an example that's popped up before is you're in a business class. I'm thinking high school, but I know this can be junior high and I guess elementary school too. But you're in a business class, create an Instagram
Mm,
account for your sample business.
gotcha.
You don't need to actually physically use Instagram in order to create a fake, you know,
Or just
Instagram
to,
or
yeah, I think
whatever
the question
business
I would ask
page.
is like, what skills are we engaging when we create or like, what is a business person doing in the real world? Those are
Right,
the developmental skills of
right. So that's just, I mean,
entrepreneurial
that's
mindset that
one
doesn't happen. Okay.
small example, but
Okay.
basically it's not allowing school-related communication
Hmm.
via social media
Okay.
to students. Obviously, schools will post things for the community, school community, but even that starts to get a little bit
Hmm.
tricky,
Hmm.
especially now with AI changing things and,
Hmm.
taking photos from school social media posts, and then
Hmm.
those are public facing
Hmm.
and anyone can download those pictures. That's school districts need to be super careful when they
Hmm.
are posting photos. And I have seen it here in our district where they have posted a kid's first and last name and their photo. And that
Hmm.
might seem harmless, and I get that you want to share information and accomplishments,
Hmm.
successes, excuse me, but social media today is just not the same as it was.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think, as you mentioned, like, yeah, schools might be sharing information with families and communities, but the problem is that, like, the reach goes beyond and out
yes.
of people's, like, you have no control what
Yeah.
happens to that post, where the algorithm is sending it. Because, case in
Right.
point, I get on Facebook and I'm
Yeah.
seeing things from school because it knows, of course, that I care about schools and educations. And so now I'm seeing this random school and where, it's just like,
Yeah. Well,
the
and think
lack
of
of
anything
control over where
potentially
that information is
controversial,
going. Hmm.
then people
Right.
will flock to your school social media and comment and comment and comment,
Mhm.
and just it blows up. It goes viral,
Yeah,
as
it's
they
quite
say. I mean,
messy.
that happened, was it just last week or this week, this past week? Peoria Public Schools, they went back and
Mm,
they had like a back to school video,
I just saw something
and
about that.
they ended up pulling it down
Yeah.
because of all the negative comments
Yeah.
about people commenting on the dress code, or maybe lack of enforcement of dress code.
Mm.
And it made the news, like the local news. So like it's a different beast,
Yeah.
social media.
Hmm.
And it can be used for good, as we've talked about, but it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one to do. So
And it's tricky when there are minors involved who
exactly.
may not have
Exactly.
consented to this being shared in the first place or
Yeah, I mean
and
nowadays I don't want to say, I don't know how common it is, to be honest. There's like, for me, for this year, I'm filling out I'm not doing the media. Like, I have to physically request for my kids to not be included,
Mhm.
their faces not be included in any district communication, posting or
Mhm.
whatever. So they'll, I don't know, if probably put a smiley face or something over
Mhm.
their face. I've seen them do that before. But now, with all of the harms that there are, I feel like that almost should be like that's the default. And if you like
Mhm.
want to have your kids picture, but
Mhm.
that's not as normalized yet. Like,
Well, that's
people,
what I'm saying. Like, we
you
need
know,
time to educate
yeah,
so people aren't just
it's just a different
immediately
time.
reactive,
Yeah.
to, yeah, it's
But
just,
there's friction
hmm,
that is there to have to take an extra step or fill out a form or send an email. I think right now it's just send an email to your building
gotcha.
principal.
Yeah.
It says, don't include my kid, their face. But yeah,
Uh,
so keep
yeah.
social media and gaming
Gotcha.
apps.
Okay.
That's another one out of the school day. So they should not be allowed to access social media on personal or school issued devices during the school day, or supervised school activities like, field trips, dances, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then supporting digital literacy. So that's folded in there too. So
Okay.
they're
And
encouraged to have age appropriate lessons on safe, responsible, healthy
yeah.
digital media
Okay.
use.
Well, I love hearing that because that's exactly what I'm thinking about the whole time is that a policy does one thing or a policy is one step in making a change,
Right.
but without the follow up, the education, the
Yeah, the
conversations about
education piece is
why
important.
this policy is in place or what this change is going to be
Yeah.
affecting. So
Yeah.
I love to hear that. Yay. Okay.
Yeah. So three
Well,
model bills,
okay.
super, super interesting. I mean, again, go on the website. You can click through each bill, and then there's a briefing document, and then there's the actual bill. I mean, you can read the bill. And there is a letter of support that you can sign for your own state, that will be sent to lawmakers as a, hey, people in our state want this, support this. And it depends on the state they're from, but you can like add like a personal story. Here's why I support this. So,
Cool. All right.
so
Well,
that's distraction-free
that's
schools.
distraction-free schools. Um, but I think that also leads us quite naturally to ideas, just continuing on this conversation of policy in general, changes across the country and changes locally.
Yeah,
Anything
yeah.
you want to speak to there? Because you mentioned towards the top COSA, and I like, yeah, nodded as if I know what that is. Could you
Oh,
please
yes,
tell me what the,
apologies.
no, I just, it's one of those things that I
There's a
assume.
lot of acronyms that I'm
Hmm.
realizing that sometimes I just
Well, you know what?
throw around and
As you're
don't.
looking that up, I'll share. Remember, was it last week that you did the new segment on Jordan learns a new word or whatever?
Oh,
We talked about looking up new
yes.
words. And maybe I shared this, but I heard this great piece of advice for going into a new job of like only hold space in your head for names. Did I share that with you?
No.
Okay, it
What
was
is
just a random
this?
thing I read, but like, when you're bombarded with all sorts of information, you're meeting new people, you're learning new acronyms, you're just like
Yeah.
immersing yourself in a new environment to just save that mental energy for names, for people. Everything else, write it down. Write down,
Hmm.
the random
Hmm.
things, make the to-do list, put it on a calendar. Don't trust your head. Don't waste your mental energy with that. And
Yeah.
that has been my like North Star this week. I'm like, when I find an
Remember
acronym,
names.
there's a page in my notebook now that's just all the little, because yeah,
What? Okay.
education, we are full of acronyms. So I'm just like jotting them all down. I'm always a note taker anyway, but I feel like I've been especially mindful of that this week of like, I want to, you know, if I have a limited amount of mental energy to spend, I'm going to spend it on people by remembering their
Yeah.
name.
Well, and I am sometimes terrible about remembering
And I
other
used to be
people's
so good. I
names.
used to be so good. And now, like, I feel like I've gotten bad. Like in the classroom, I feel like the last
It's hard.
several semesters, I've been much worse at names. And so now I'm at least going to try this
That's a
of
good
being
tip.
like, if that is my goal, is to focus, if that's my focus is on names,
Well, they say you're
then
supposed to
anything else I can
repeat
learn.
them
Hmm.
multiple times. Like when you
They
meet
do,
someone, it's
Jordan.
like,
They
Helen,
do.
it is so great
Yes.
to hear that from you. Okay, Helen, when you said like you
Uh-huh.
say their name multiple times and then it
Yes, you
helps
do,
cement
Jordan.
that.
Yes.
Yes,
But
yes, Helen.
any hoozle doozle, you were going to tell
Yeah,
me
so
what
COSA.
COSA stands for, what it
So
is.
COSA with a K,
Oh.
so KOSA. It's the Kids Online Safety Act is what
Ah,
it basically stands for.
okay.
And you know what, I might have said Senate committee. Now I will have to go back and listen, but the Senate Commerce. So it was on the 5th, just a few days, so 4 days ago, Senate Commerce passed COSA. And so then it moves on. Um, and it is a protective, popular, bipartisan children's online safety legislation that's under consideration. And this statement here is from Fair Play. It says it would be the most important new law to protect kids online in nearly 30 years. And thanks to today's Senate Commerce Committee markup, it is now one big step closer to finally giving our children the safer online platforms they deserve. You potentially are familiar with another legislative thing happening out there. COSA versus Kids Act. Have you heard of
Uh,
Kids Act?
no, I
Okay.
haven't.
Well, these bills are not the same. So the Kids Act does not include a duty of care. COSA does,
Explain.
meaning that this is going to put the responsibility on platforms like
Mm,
big tech is being left
I see.
responsible. The Kids Act, the House Kids Act, has no duty of care and it removes the strongest accountability provision, which I believe to mean like social media companies being sued
Hmm.
for the harms that they cause. So big tech is left with less responsibility.
Hmm.
That is not the case in the Senate's COSA.
Okay.
So it does include a duty of care and it puts more responsibility on the platforms because it's a product.
Mhm.
Product safety, when you think of like a car seat, if a car seat hurts like one, kills a child, harms a child, God forbid, those are recalled
Mhm.
like in a snap because it's a product safety issue and it is endangering the public. Well, social media companies have made a product that are killing children and I mean and adults, but it's not treated the same. It's not treated the same way. So this is why these laws matter. They have created these products to be addictive by design, these algorithms that are harmful to mental health, and that kind of leads to this other. There's a big a big ruling that
Mm.
just happened against Meta. Did you
Okay.
see this in New Mexico? In the largest child safety ruling against social media, they were fined 567 million by the state of New Mexico. And basically the judge said Meta is a public nuisance
Mm.
and you're going to pay for the mental health supports that our state
Mm.
has. You have caused our state to have to deal with all these mental health problems that we can't afford, and that's your fault, and you're going to pay for it.
Mm.
In addition to having some stronger, I don't remember all of the details. I'd have to go back in and look, but like stronger safeguards in
Mhm.
the app, and how they're supposed to work. And then I think kind of similar to tobacco companies where they had to like pay for education about the harms of tobacco. I
Mhm.
believe that is a part of it as well.
Wow.
So New Mexico this judge came down hard. And I
Mm.
think I might have seen just today, there might be additional money that was required
Mm.
for them to pay. So yeah,
Interesting.
there's like banners that are supposed to pop up, mandatory usage limit. Oh, here it is. Okay, implement a mandatory usage limit for such users, I believe under 18, of 90 cumulative hours per month. So that's about 3 hours per day. Can't have push notifications between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m.
Hmm.
And can also ban push notifications during the school day, 8 to 3, except on weekends. Eliminate like counts for users under 18 and enact a one strike policy for adult users who engage in child sexual exploitation. Right now, I think it's like 17 or 18 strikes Meta gives
That's
accounts
a
to
lot
be
of strikes.
as long as they're
Yeah.
being reported.
Yeah.
So there's
Right.
plenty that go unreported.
Right.
And then ban underage users from sending or receiving nudity, which is like a no-brainer.
Right.
Duh.
Yeah.
So,
On the note of the different restricting push notifications on school days versus weekends,
yes, and
that's
and evenings, 10 p.m. to 7 a.m.
right. That I understand. That's a
during a
set
typical
time
school
every
year.
day. Yeah. What is it? How does it
And
define
then
a
8 to
typical school year?
3. Yeah, so that piece I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
Like that sounds like a mess. That
right,
that's
right.
what
I
stands out
I
to my
get the
scheduling brain.
I get the intent. It's
Yeah.
basically, but
R-
not every student's school day is that
uh-huh.
period. I
Uh-huh.
think
And not
overall,
every student's life follows a school day. I'm thinking
exactly.
about emergency situations. A family member is
Exactly.
in the hospital, or,
Yeah, but
insert
these are just
any number of things.
push
But
notification, so
yeah.
you would still, as I would understand it, you'd still
Mhm.
have like the little red notifications
Mm.
that show up that your app has something to
Mhm.
tell you, but I
Mhm.
think it maybe prevents it from, but I don't know how they control that
Yeah.
because I feel like that's device level. So I don't
Yeah.
know
Yeah. I know that makes me, it's like, they can control that?
well,
Who even is
maybe.
they?
I
Who
mean,
are
it
we?
would be app,
But
I would think it would
yeah.
be at the app
Well, it's like,
level.
we get
So
you get,
Facebook could turn it on and they can
yeah.
turn anything on and off.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm
So,
thinking on the phone level, you get the emergency notification. So I suppose there is some sort of
sure.
larger network-wide system. So maybe I don't know these
Yeah, but
things,
from
but
the Facebook app, I
yeah,
would imagine
from
it recognizes
it.
your location, it knows what state you're. I mean, they already do.
Bleh. I know.
And it will prevent notifications from coming to your device. It doesn't mean you won't get them ever, or
Right.
you probably if you still open the app during that time, maybe they still
Mhm.
exist there, but The idea
Yeah,
being that
it's not
you're
gonna.
supposed to be focused on school during the school day. And yes, there are going to be exceptions where students have different school days or,
Right.
I think about our district where, in the morning,
Ever.
some students go to college, early college classes
Hmm.
or do the work program or vice
Hmm.
versa. They do that in the afternoon. So,
And we have half day,
or half
just
day. Yeah,
yeah.
there's
Yeah,
going
there's
to
all sorts
be,
of
it will probably
logistical questions,
follow
but
the, public school district's calendar. I don't know. I don't know how you implement that. And that's
hmm
probably something Meta will push back on or
hmm
appeal, and it'll go through a whole long process. But
but better to
it definitely
swing
sent a
big
message.
and yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
it sent a
Exactly.
message that we're in New Mexico, we're not gonna take it anymore.
Mm.
And
No,
I know
we ain't
there's
gonna
yeah,
take it.
there's more states that are in the works. They're coming. So
Wow.
um so there's that, and then locally I think
Yeah.
about here in our district, our
Hmm.
Morton School District, some changes that have happened. The cell phone policy changed. So instead of it just being instructional time, meaning you just, well, or you're not supposed to use it during class, kids could use it during study hall,
Hmm.
during passing periods, and during lunch. And that is no longer permitted. So it is bell to bell. And there is, I don't, I know I've seen it, but I don't know what the discipline structure is
Hmm.
is for that for first, second, third, and plus offenses. So that is new for the 26-27 school year, eliminating YouTube access for
Hmm.
students on their devices, direct access. So what that doesn't take away is a teacher's ability to embed a video into something like, we use Schoology, or, whatever platform, or playing it in class.
Hmm.
They have the ability to share videos
Hmm.
with students that are, part of their lessons, but students can no longer just get on YouTube. So that's a huge, huge
Hmm.
change and a huge win because there are kids racking up literally thousands of hours just watching YouTube because, that's what it's designed to do. So that's a
Hmm.
big win. And then not at the August board meeting, but was it July? Yeah, it was July. The It wasn't a discussion item. It was really just like agenda building. So they were talking about it, but it didn't have any action to it yet. Was K2 devices, the
Hmm.
one-to-one K2 devices, iPads. So just as a discussion. And kind of the summary of that is it'll be revisited in October. And there are definitely there are people that want to move faster. And
Hmm.
I mean, myself certainly being one, but I recognize that it does take a lot of discussion with multiple stakeholders,
Hmm.
including teachers.
Hmm.
None of this is supposed to cause harm to anyone, but
Hmm.
also the research is there, the data is there, and for someone like me, like my kid's in school right now,
Hmm.
this isn't something that I can wait on. So, I mean, I'll continue to opt out of the iPad at least, this year and next and kind of see where it
Hmm.
goes from there. But I want to make sure it's something that still supports teachers so it's not doing multiple things.
Hmm.
But then again, at the same time, teachers do multiple things all the time. I think about when I had students that had like concussion protocols. They
Hmm.
weren't allowed to use their devices during that period of
Hmm.
time. And so they had to have that differentiated instruction,
Hmm.
or, everything printed on paper, or, had to maybe leave the room if there was a ton of like smart board use or, whatever. It's like they can't have all the digital use during their concussion
Hmm.
recovery.
Yeah,
So
it's certainly messy and
it is.
complicated.
It is.
But you had also included in our outline something I wanted to also hear about, which was John Haidt recently sharing what a like prediction
Yeah.
that this next
Yeah.
year is going to be a tipping point, which is maybe a place where I don't know, is there a light at the end of the tunnel that it is not just going to be messy and complicated?
Yeah, I think enough districts. I mean, it is messy and it is complicated, but it's also for the best. It's for the better. I think true for teachers, students, parents.
Hmm.
That
But yeah,
these
getting through
but
this.
getting
This is what
through
I.
and having these conversations, there was a recent webinar I attended. I might have talked about this on our last podcast, but the superintendent of Granville County Public Schools in North Carolina, his name's Dr. Stan Winborn. Um, and he and her name is Tiana Beechler. I don't remember. I think she was like board president or academic something. Apologies for forgetting her title, but they did a discussion for distraction-free schools
Mhm.
about they have rolled back on tech. So he had implemented Dr. Winborn tech-free Tuesdays and Thursdays in his district,
Mhm.
meaning for students, doesn't mean for teachers. Um, and shared the results of that and how well it had gone and different things that they're implementing and rolling back device use. And one of his biggest suggestions for districts was where to start, like doing a tech audit.
Mhm.
So figuring out what technology is used, why. There's a lot of schools that have these contracts for different ed tech programs that like they're not even using and they're paying for them. And because it's really easy to, I mean, think about in your own house with like, I have a Netflix, I have a Peacock, I have an
No, I
Amazon.
don't. No, I don't. We have dropout.
Listeners,
Period.
apologies.
We have
Not Helen's house.
public library cards.
Exactly. Well, yeah, all the more reason to do that. But so many of us, I mean, I include
I
myself,
know. Yes.
have all these digital subscriptions, and
Yeah.
some are easy to forget that you have, and they're on auto renewal.
Hmm.
Maybe it's not as easy to forget in a school district because like finances or at least public school are public things, but it is
Hmm.
easy to have something that you purchase
Yeah, and to
once
lose track of its
and
actual
lose
use.
track
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's like no one's utilizing this or they're not utilizing this like we thought they would
Hmm.
or do we actually need this? So
Hmm.
just doing a technology audit and a lot of times it's like, oh, there's some money saving piece
Hmm.
here too. So that was a suggestion or a recommendation for kind of districts to start there. And then what are the results that we're getting from this technology that we've implemented? Is it really giving us what it promised? And usually the answer is no. Um, but yeah, Jonathan Haidt, this was actually a little bit earlier in July that he posted this. It's the title on his Substack from his After Babel Substack. Why did we let big tech take over education? And this was a guest post. There's actually an accompanying video from Sophie Winkleman. Do you know who she's over in the UK? She's an actress, activist, has done a lot to talk about ed tech and move that conversation forward. But it's Sophie, or excuse me, I always want to say Sophia. Sophie Winkleman lays out the damage from the screen-based school day and shows how to roll it back. So there's the transcript or the text from her speech, but also it links to the video. So, yeah, I mean, I have said for a little while now, I think, Jonathan Haidt's book did for smartphones what I think Jared Cooney Horvath's book is going to do for one-to-one tech in schools.
Hmm.
Interestingly, they're doing a webinar coming up here soon for
Hmm.
the it's not really it's kind of a re-release. He got picked up by a publisher.
Hmm.
So, he has his book coming back out, but it has couple new chapters in
This
it.
is the digital delusion you're
Yeah,
speaking
excuse me.
to.
Yeah, Digital Delusion by Dr. Jared Cooney Horvath.
Gotcha.
Which, fun
Very
fact, I
interesting.
won a copy of that book on Goodreads. I
No
entered a
way.
contest, so
Ah.
I have his original one that I purchased, and now I have the new one. And it's funny, there's some little note like this was printed before. Like there could be changes because
Mm.
this was sent out as a pre-release.
Promo, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like not for
Well, now you'll
resale.
have to read it another time
That's
and
right. Now I need to have
spot the
three of them.
differences.
No, I don't think anything's gonna have changed, but that will be coming out here. I think the
Yeah.
start of September. So
Okay, cool. And Natasha Singer's book is coming out this fall, which I am
I already
thrilled
pre-ordered it.
about. Oh, good, good, good.
Yeah. Oh
Well,
man, she's
yeah,
she's
you
actually,
texted me in the middle of a keynote the other day.
which
And
was fabulous. Oh my gosh, it was not, I asked the organizers, it was not recorded, which is a bummer. But she is also, I'm sure, gonna go on kind of a book promo
Yeah,
tour, but
she's going to be a keynote at NCTE this year, which is the National Council for Teachers of English.
there you
She's
go.
there. I
Yeah.
will not be there, which is a bummer,
Oh,
but
well.
I
I
I love
well,
to see it.
you can participate in the webinar that she
Mm,
is going to be in, and it's either I think it's Smartphone for Childhood. Excuse me, smartphone. I always stumble over that,
it's
and I say it all the time.
it's a lot,
Smartphone Free
Jordan.
Childhood
It's a lot.
US,
Yes.
and we can definitely link that. But she was just the keynote for a virtual
Okay.
conference that the Civics of Technology hosted.
Cool.
So she was the Friday keynote, and then the Thursday was I believe she's Doctor, but Meredith Broussard
Mm,
was a researcher. Super, super interesting.
cool.
Oh my gosh, there's
Right.
just so many, like, there's just so much to absorb. And
Yeah,
so I'm just constantly listening and
I
learning
know. I
the
don't know how
kind
you
of
do it.
the, well, that I'm sure I'm letting
I,
other things fall by the wayside as I'm doing all this, but I wanted to just remind listeners of my giant Google Doc, which is
Mhm.
now 17 pages long. If you have not heard me talk about this before, I started it in January, and it was just as a way for me to send information to my school board, links to all, it started out really mostly with like phone free, like how to go phone free in your district and the research that supports it. And then it just kept going. It just grew. And then it was social media stuff and AI stuff and all the ed tech. And then it was links to all the webinars. And then it really became something that helped me organize and
Hmm.
keep track of all these things that I'm reading. There's op-eds, there's research, there's just articles, there's news reports from different districts that shared that they're making technology policy changes. But so it's 17 pages long. And here's just a couple of the most recent. I'm obviously not going to read every single article, but here's a couple of the
I was
most
gonna say, I
recent
don't think we
ones.
need to fill any more time.
I
We
know
did
we're
it. We've done it. But I
I'm
want to hear
going and going
these.
and going.
Yes, yes, yes. I love it.
Here's so there's a few upcoming webinars at the top, but here's
Cool.
the most recent articles. I'll do like six. I hate what AI is doing to the minds and happiness of the young.
Mm.
Catherine Rundle on The View from the Classroom. Minnesota schools put screens at the center of learning. Parents say kids are paying the price. Meta fined 567 million in largest child safety ruling against social media giant. Oh, this was
That's New
one that I
Mexico.
definitely read. Yeah, that was New Mexico. This one I read and loved. Kids lose more than just books when school is on a screen. They
Mm.
don't need more digital training, they need more face-to-face learning. A chatbot-free childhood will be a status symbol. AI is like ultra-processed food for developing brains.
I did see that headline.
Yeah,
I did not click on it.
it's a good one. It's a good
Well,
one. So, and now
yeah.
I organize them by topic. So if you're looking for anything related to phone-free schools, there is a tab for that. If you want to learn ed tech, which is now my biggest section, ed tech, social media, AI, all of the things, and then a list of different organizations that are all, kind of working on these different things, including Smartphone Free Childhood US, Distraction Free Schools Policy Project, Schools Beyond Screens, Phone Free School Report Card, blah, blah, all the things. There's so many. But I think it just shows the
That,
the wealth of information that
yes.
is out there
Yeah.
and the number of places that are covering this
Mhm.
because it's it's going to happen. Your wherever you're listening, your school district, if they haven't already, they are going to make technology changes. They just whether they implemented them at the district level or if it's at the state level. So that's here. And because there's data and research to support why that's important and needed.
Mm. Yeah. Tune in
And
next
that's what
week
I
when
do all
I
day.
talk about the what this means for the future of teacher education.
Well, yeah, I
I'll
mean that
figure it
really
out and
would
answer all
be.
these questions in the course of a week. No,
Yeah.
it's yeah,
Because
it's
it all folds in together, and you're right. I mean, teacher education, that's there's so many different moving
hmm
pieces to this. How teachers are taught about technology matters, how students are,
hmm
impacts how students are taught about technology. And
Yeah, and I keep coming back to this too, that there's something so special and intriguing to me about this current cohort, this current generation of
Yeah.
pre-service teachers or teacher candidates.
Yeah.
Is, having experienced the last 4+ years now of major technological shifts as students to
Totally.
now going through this transition into being the ones at the front of the room to becoming teachers and
Yeah.
the habits they carry with them, the mindsets that they have, yeah, all the things
All of the
that
things.
I am excited to explore in my work over the next year, but then also with
Yeah.
you in our conversations.
There's a
So
lot
thank you,
happening.
Jordan, for doing the work
I'm trying.
and for sharing it with it because I genuinely I feel like I've said the word genuinely about 18 times,
That's
but I'll have
okay. It
to
just means
count.
you genuinely
I
mean it.
genuinely care and I am genuinely curious about all the things you do because I know it's a lot. And so I'm glad that you were able to break some of it down for me tonight and
Yeah,
share that with not just me, but our listeners as well, because the work you're doing matters. And like you
I hope
said,
so.
you're not doing it alone. There are
No.
these,
Yeah,
there
that's
are
the other
many
thing. There you
large
are.
networks of people doing it alongside you.
I
And
and I hope that people also realize like you don't have to you don't have to do it at my level. I mean, it would be great if you did,
get on
but
my level, says
just
Jordan.
talking to other
Yeah.
people about this or sharing your concerns with your district, like that's one thing I've learned even just here in our district is if they don't hear about it, then they don't know that maybe a change needs to be made. And it doesn't have to be a negative interaction or a, confrontational interaction. It's just I'm seeing my kid work on 3 hours of homework on the iPad each night, but I don't know if it's always they're doing their homework or, what do they have access to? Or
Mhm.
I'm worried about their eye strain or headaches or, I have a first grader and can you tell me why, what reasons
Mhm.
they're using an iPad and how it's better than analog method, like, just asking questions, but in a polite, respectful way. And same thing with sharing concerns with administrators and school board members. So,
Mhm.
I think having a conversation matters. It
Mhm.
just, it does. It matters.
Mhm.
So, and I
Yep.
didn't, it sounds silly, but I just didn't realize that until getting into this. So
Mhm.
it
Well, here
matters.
you are. You are most certainly in it, Jordan.
Oh, I am.
And in addition to being in it, where people should go out of their
Oh,
houses, they should like go
should.
outside.
They should go outside. Our grass is
Which
so
which
long.
oh,
Although, shout out to Brian, who's he might still be out there, mowing round two because all the batteries for our
oh
mower
no,
died
not
yesterday.
again.
And oh, we just can't, it's too thick, like it's
It's
too long and it's
yeah.
wearing the mower out, and so all the batteries get
Oh
used,
my
and we're only like
God.
a quarter of the way through the yard.
Oh,
So
you
he
guys.
probably got another quarter of the way
You need
done
to
cutting
hire
it
a
tonight.
kid.
I know, but
I
it's just one
know.
more thing to pay
I
for,
know.
and
Get,
I know.
Brian can trade a lesson for just kidding. I'm not encouraging this, but
No, don't.
you can,
I mean, I like to mow. I used to be really the one that did it, but
yeah.
now my I've just run out of time. This is
Yes,
that's
it's the
something
time.
that has
Yeah.
fallen by the
Yeah.
wayside because
Yeah.
I have given my time to other things, in addition to parenting my children.
Yeah, I'd
I'm
say that
trying to make that the main focus,
the
but
bubble
man,
mower just ain't cutting it these days. Literally, it ain't cutting it.
no, it's not. The grass is too long and it's like a jungle out there. So go explore
No,
the
touch it
jungle.
anyway. Yeah.
And you're just supporting healthy wildlife
Biodiversity.
development
I
and
mean, what is a lawn anyway? I do have lots of
butterflies.
thoughts on these norms we have built around
I
lawns and
know.
lawn care, but I say this as someone who also loves mowing the lawn and loves coming home to a house that's like, oh, look how nice our house looks. Like,
Yeah.
look at that lawn. Like,
I do. I
I do.
stare
You
at it
get that.
afterwards.
You get a feeling of pride of just like,
It's a
oh,
dopamine hit
It is a
moment.
dopamine hit.
So go out there and get your dopamine
That
hit from
dopamine.
mowing the grass rather than Instagram. There's
And
my
perhaps while you do that, you've already listened to this podcast, but next
true.
week you can listen to us and this podcast music from Brian Spiegelmeyer. Jordan Spiegelmeyer does social media. I'm Helen Plevka-Jones, and we will catch you on the Flippity Flip.